I am making a Myutant ghotti deck profile. I was trying to think of a way I can play ghotti besides just pure fish, which I do not recognize ghotti as being pronounced that way, as words only the letters are only pronounced the way they are for people to pronounce it as fish in certain situations, which ghotti is not. Anyway, I was trying to think of how you use the ghotti cards and realized they all work by banishing. And what's the best archetype I have that works with banishing that isn't Thunder Dragon? Myutant. So I've been playing around with the deck. I really like it. I think it's really fun, and I've just been using ghotti as an excuse to play Myutant again. Starting off with the Myutant monsters, I play 2 copies of Myutant Mutant, 3 copies of Myutant M01 or M01 05, and 3 copies of Myutant ST46. Myutant Mutant can be special summoned from your hand while you control a mutant monster. Then you can banish a mutant card from your deck, summon the corresponding mutant monster, and then you take damage equal to that monster's attack. And then all of these 3 summon a mutant monster depending on what card you banish for them. So if you banish a monster, you summon Beast. Banish a spell, you summon Mist. And banish a trap, you summon Arsenal. But M05 has the effect of when it is summoned, or when it's normal or special summoned, you can add a mutant monster from your deck to your hand. And then ST46 has a similar effect, but rather than adding a monster, adds a mutant spell or trap. And then you can tribute any of these 3, banish a card from your hand or face up field to then summon the corresponding monster, except for Myutant Mutant. Myutant Mutant will banish from the deck, as I previously stated. Then I played 2 copies of Myutant Beast, 1 Myutant Mist, and 1 Arsenal. Beast has the effect of when your opponent activates a spell card or effect, you can banish a card from your hand or face up field, negate that effect, and destroy it. Mist has the effect of when your opponent activates a trap, you can banish a card from your hand or face up field to then draw 2 cards. And Arsenal has the effect when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish a card from your hand or face up field to then banish 1 monster your opponent controls, and I believe it does target. Yes, it does target a monster on the field to banish. But they also have effects where if they leave the field because of an opponent's card, Beast will let you target one of your banished mutant traps, add to your hand. Mist will let you target one of your banished mutant monsters to add to your hand. And Arsenal will let you target a banished mutant spell. And then moving on to the ghotti part of the deck profile, I play 3 copies of Pace's Light of the Ghotti. Pace's has the effect during the standby phase after it was banished, it'll summon itself back to the field. And if summoned this way during the main phase quick effect, you can activate its effect to synchro summon a monster using this monster you control. So the main thing I like doing with it is the fact that it's level 2. All of the other mutant monsters that you would summon are level 8. So this gives you easy level 10 option or synchro options. Then it also has the effect of you can banish this card you control, especially summon a fish monster from your hand, which if you use that effect, it will only ever be to summon Enoch. But like I said, the main thing I like about these is the fact that you can banish them off of a mutant monster. Like, you can banish it from your hand to summon Mutant Beast, or Myutant Beast, I mean. And then you can, after you negate with Beast, you can synchro summon the ghotti boss monster, ghotti from the deep beyond, and then banish your opponent's entire field. And then it paces is, or you play one copy of Shift Fairy of the ghotti for the same reason you play paces. Meaning that during the next standby phase, after it was banished, it'll summon itself, and then the main phase quick effect synchro summon. This one's just not as good because it has its only other effect is a grave effect, where you can banish from the graveyard target fish monster you control, give it 500 attack till the end of its turn. But again, it's another level 2 tuner that will summon itself. Then I play 2 copies of Enoch, Sentry of the ghotti. And then Enoch has the effect of, if it's normal or special summon, you can target one of your banished level 4 lower fish monsters, summon it in defense position. But it negates effects. You can banish a fish monster from your hand or face a field to add a ghotti trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Enoch, Sentry of the ghotti once per turn. I honestly haven't ever summoned Enoch in this deck. Usually Enoch ends up being banished because I can't... It's the only monster in my hand I can afford to banish. Then for supporting monsters, I play 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. Dimension Shifter has the effect that you can discard it while you have no other cards in grave, to then make it so that until the end of the next turn, any cards that go to the grave are removed from play instead. Then starting off with the spells, you'll probably notice a trend here. I play 1 copy of Mutant Fusion and Dimensional Fissure. Dimensional Fissure has the effect of any monsters that would be sent to the graveyard are removed from play instead. So Dimensional Fissure can turn off hand traps that have to go to the graveyard, like Effect Veiler, for example. How its effect is you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. And then Mutant Fusion lets you fusion summon a Myutant Fusion monster by using monsters from your hand or field material. But if your opponent has activated a card or effect this turn, you can use up to 1 each. You can banish from grave or use from your deck. Then I play 2 copies of Moray of Avarice. This just lets you banish a fish monster you control and draw 2 cards. Iris? No. Then I play 2 copies of Myutant Evolution Lab. Myutant Evolution Lab, when activated, lets you summon a level 4 or lower Myutant monster from your hand or face up banished. And all your Myutant monsters gain 100 attack points for every different Myutant card that is banished. And then once per turn, you can reveal a Myutant monster in your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck, and if you do, draw a card. Then, because all your starters are psychic monsters, I play 3 copies of Emergency Teleport, which I am very surprised the ban list did not hit, just like I was surprised that it did not ban Mystic Mine or Artifact Scythe. I feel like those 2 cards are problems. Moving on to the traps, I play 1 copy of Macrocosmos. This just makes so any card that would go to the grave is removed from play instead. 2 copies of Ghotti Chain. Ghotti Chain has the effect of you can banish a face-up fish you control, special on one of your Ghotti monsters that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard with a different name. You can activate 1 Ghotti Chain per turn. Currently, this is the only Ghotti trap, but I'm hoping once Ghotti gets more support, they'll get even more decent traps. And then I play 3 copies of Myutant Expansion. Myutant Expansion has the effect of, when it's activated, or you can only control 1... My mistake. I keep misreading it, I'm sorry. When you activate this card, you can take a level 4 lower Myutant monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or summon it. And then if a level 8 or higher Myutant monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card instead. My mistake. You don't have protection effects only for card effect. But you can only activate 1 Mutant Expansion per turn. Then I play 3 copies of Myutant Cry. Myutant Cry is a fusion trap that lets you shuffle back monsters from your graveyard, banish, or face-up field. Then fusion summon a Myutant Fusion monster. So usually what I'll do with this is I'll summon either Myutant Synthesis by using 1 of the level 8 Myutants and a level 4 or lower, or I'll use all 3 of the higher level Myutants to summon Ultimus. So you can only activate 1 Mutant Cry per turn, but this is still a really good trap just because of the fact it does let you summon Synthesis, which is I still think is a really broken monster. But that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Abyss Keeper. I play this card because the Myutant starters are water monsters, so technically you can use those to make this. But Abyss Keeper has the effect of it cannot be used as link material the turn it is link summoned. And then if this card is link summoned, you can special summon a fish monster from your hand to a zone discard points to. You can target 1 other fish monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls, banish those cards. So the reason I like this is because of the fact that if you have this on the field, you can just keep banishing Paces or Shift to keep banishing cards for your opponent's field. Then I play 3 copies of Myutant Synthesis. Myutant Synthesis, I think, is one of the dumbest fusion monsters. Just because of the fact that all it requires are 2 Myutant monsters with different attributes to make. But when it's fusion summoned, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. And then if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can chain Synthesis effect to make it immune to that type of card. So if your opponent activates something like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon's effect to negate your Synthesis effect, then you can chain Synthesis to make it unaffected by monster effects. Or if they activate something like Raigeki, you can chain its effect, make it unaffected by spell effects. Or your opponent tries to imperm it, you can make it unaffected by traps. But you can only use its effect of Mutant Synthesis once per turn as a quick effect. Then I play 1 copy of Myutant Ultimus. Ultimus requires 3 level 8 or higher Myutant monsters. But I still think this card is really good. I just think Myutants need more monsters or even better spells and traps. But Myutant Ultimus, maybe even a couple more fusion monsters. But Ultimus as a generic negate by being a walking Ultimate Providence. But if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can banish the same type of mutant card from your graveyard to then negate that effect and destroy it. And then if Ultimus leaves the field, I forgot, Synthesis also has a destruction effect, where Synthesis is destroyed by opponent's card effect or battle, then you can target a banished mutant card, add to your hand. And then Ultimus has a similar effect, but you target up to 3 mutant cards, 1 spell, trap, and monster, and add those targets to your hand. Then I play 3 copies of Ascon the Bicorned Ghotti. One of these will probably end up being taken out for Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I just don't have any at the moment. But as the effect of this card Synchro Summon, you can target 1 fish you control and 1 card your opponent controls, banish them. And then if this card is banished, you can banish 1 fish monster from your graveyard, special summon this card. You can only use this effect of Ascon the Bicorned Ghotti once per turn. But I just like it because of how you can summon it and just banish. But this card's hardly ever used because you can only ever make this by using either 2 ST, I think it's ST. Yeah, by using 2 ST46 or Enoch. So it doesn't really get summoned that often. I'll probably reduce it to 1 and then replace it with a Trishula, Sub-Zero, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. But they also play 1 copy of White Aura Whale. White Aura Whale also isn't summoned very often because summoning it would be the exact same as trying to summon Ascon, except you can only use Enoch. But White Aura Whale has the effect of when it's synchro summoned, you destroy all face up. Okay, when it's synchro summoned, you can destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. It can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And then if it attacks defense position monster, inflict piercing. And then if it is destroyed by an opponent's card, either its battle or card effect, you can send to your graveyard, or you can banish one other water monster from your graveyard to special summon it. And if you do a straight as a tuner. But I honestly haven't summoned. Level 8 in this deck is weird to make as far as synchros go. But I also play one copy of Ravenous Dragon however you pronounce its name. For some reason, this card is always a tongue twister for me. Again, this is only in here for level 9 options until I can get something like Trishula. The main thing I would do, though, is replace one of these with one of the Sword Soul Sovereigns. I think it's Changing, whichever one's the ultra rare. Just because this deck banishes a lot, so because the card is banished, then you can actually banish a card from your opponent's field and graveyard. So it would definitely be good because level 10 is the easiest for this deck to make. Then I play 3 copies of Ghotti of the Deep Beyond. If this card, it gains 500 attack for every banished monster. And then it also has the effect of, if this card is synchro summoned in your opponent's turn, you can banish all cards on the field. And if this was banished because of its own effect, or if this card was banished and during a standby phase, you can summon it back. I don't remember if it has to be by its own effect. Now, if this card was banished from the monster zone, then it'll summon itself back. One thing I like to do is if I don't need it until the next standby phase, I will actually use this card with Moray of Avarice. Banish it, draw 2, during the next standby phase, it will summon itself back. And then I also play 1 copy of White Aura Behemoth. This card is definitely coming out because I didn't realize it requires a synchro or non-tuner synchro monster. So this will be coming out for another level 10 option. Like this could be replaced for or taken out for a Baron de Fleur. And to finish off the monsters, I do like playing the 1 copy of Psychic and Punisher. This card is summonable by using a Synthesis and Paces or Shift, or by using Paces or Shift with Myutant and one of the level 8s. But Psychic and Punisher to me has always been a great card, just because it's 3,800. If your life points are equal to or lower than your opponent's, it's unaffected by their activated card effects. At the start of the battle phase, you can activate its effect to have it gain attack points equal to the difference in life points, which I have found out that does not go away at all. It just keeps getting bigger the more battle phases it sees. But that is why Psychic and Punisher is what I'm calling this deck's boss monster. But really, it should be Ghotti or Ultimus. Anyway, that is it for my Ghotti Myutant deck profile. There are still changes I need to make to it, obviously, like taking out this, reducing Ascon to 1. But this deck is still in the developmental phase. So if anyone has any ideas what you can do to improve the deck, any ideas of decks like to be made in the future, or decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching.